Live. Welcome everyone. Welcome to this agent intelligence. And I think every time we're getting better and better. We're speaking and chatting around agents, ecosystem, and much more. So again, guys, welcome to this agent intelligence. We're exploring the future of AI agent in Web3. We're speaking about the ecosystem, and I'm Francesco. I'm contributing to the DAO. I'm also leading developer relation at Consensus. And today we're deeping dive into the technology and the vision behind Gaia. We're speaking about agents, and it's an honor to have you, Harish. And you want to quickly introduce yourself? I think it's maybe 2 3 weeks, long time no see, back in Denver. And I'm super happy to have this conversation on a more high level ecosystem because you know your stuff, especially around the builder ecosystem. So welcome, and feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Francesco. Yes, long time no see. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I'm Harish. I lead developer relations at Gaia, predominantly focusing on getting more builders to use Gaia to build AI agents autonomously,
Nice.
doing transactions, doing actions, whatever you want, right? Gaia is an inference layer that helps you build personalized AI agents.
Nice, nice. And what are the things? I mean, speaking about 2 seconds about Gaia specific, right? Like, what are the main use cases that you see builders leveraging the inference models? Any specific use case that you see out there that you want to kind of give awareness to the builders hearing us?
Absolutely. I think some of the use cases that I see builders leveraging Gaia at hackathons, at hacker houses that we co-partner with, are one is digital twins, creating
Mm,
personalities of real world entities or humans virtually that behave, respond, or speak like those individuals. For example, on our website, we have Vitalik's digital twin. We have Diplo, a very contrasting
nice.
approach, right? And then the other use cases that I also see are trading agents, where
Mhm.
people are training customized nodes on Gaia, uh, trained on historical blockchain data, for example, or even like historical stock market data, and creating bots around it that support them to create strategies or trade virtually online. These two are main examples that I usually see at hackathons. But at the same time, there are other categories of applications that I would say, which is the app layer, where people are leveraging our public nodes or also their own nodes. Because with Gaia, what you get is opening a compatible API,
Mhm.
which means you can pretty much build an application in whichever programming language you are comfortable with. By just leveraging the API. So there are app builders who use these APIs and consume and create. Uh, One of the major use cases that I've seen there is automating programming support or code support
Mhm.
assisted code assistants. One of them is we have a Rust coder agent where people can use the agent in VS Code or Cursor, and then get help or get the agent to write code for them beyond documentation, right? So these are some examples that I would highlight in terms of how people are leveraging Gaia to create specialized agents, I would say.
Nice, nice, nice. So basically, you're saying to me, I mean, there should be some kind of Francesco twin now.
Yes,
That
yes. Where is
that
it?
would be
Where is it,
cool.
Francesco?
Yeah, I need to, I was testing out Solange, this kind of DevRel AI agent. Then I deep dive a little bit in kind of this developer
Yeah.
PR agent helping, succeeding, also solving some issues. It's actually quite fascinating, the use case. I mean, especially because with Gaia on the open AI side, you can actually build very sustainable and more resilient model. But let's dive a little bit on the kind of the AI agent side, right? You've been testing agents, you've been playing with frameworks since the start. What are the main trends that you see around agent development today? It could be around frameworks, it could be about dApps developer on the agent side. Anything that you kind of want to share here with the audience?
Absolutely. I think some of the patterns that I've been noticing are, of course, everybody started with meme coins,
Oh yeah.
creating automated meme coins using agents. But now I think slowly people are also realizing the importance of creating specialized agents instead of
Mhm.
a jack of all trades that can do anything and everything.
Mhm.
One of them that was built using Gaia is Shizo Terminal. You can check it out on Twitter. Shizo has a personality, can join Twitter Spaces
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
interact with humans with the personality it carries, right?
Mhm.
That's one type of agent. There are the other type of agents that people are also creating are, for example, leveraging CDP, Smart Wallet, and Agent Kit, and doing autonomous transactions on chain, right?
Mhm.
That's one example that I've seen because CDP offers a very straightforward approach as a
Mhm.
framework for anybody to leverage their Coinbase wallets, multi-sig
Mhm.
wallets. They recently launched smart wallets, which are multi-sig
Mhm.
wallets, to enable AI agents to perform
Mhm.
autonomous transactions. So that's one framework that everybody should check out if they are keen to interact with wallets or do transactions or do swaps, right? In terms of the Web3 side of it. Then there is, of course, there is Twitter agents.
Mhm.
Everybody knows Eliza framework
Of course.
is one of the most popular in the ecosystem for letting anybody quickly go from an idea to an agent that can
Mhm.
launch on any platform, right? They are platform agnostic. You can launch it on Twitter, you can launch it on Telegram, Discord, Slack, whatever, right? You pick, even WhatsApp. So that's another framework. And
Yep.
there are also other frameworks. One specifically I want to mention is in Python. It's called Agno. They recently renamed from
Mm.
PyData to Agno, which lets you build agent to agent interactions or agentic systems,
Ooh.
right? OpenAI was popularly known for calling the swarms of agents. In fact, they also launched an agents SDK literally like I think yesterday or day before that lets
Yes.
developers build agents, multiple agents,
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
let them interact, right? Which is very similar to what Agno was already doing, right? So
Mm.
irrespective of what vector database you have for the knowledge base or memory system that you want to use,
Mhm.
all you have to do is bring your inference. It can be
Yes.
anywhere, right? It can be OpenAI or OpenAI like. So you can bring the inference, you can connect it to a vector database, and the agent can now run on a simple Streamlit application, or it can respond to a Telegram message, right? So
Nice.
Agno is a great framework. Of course, everybody should check out what OpenAI is launching, and then I would recommend using an open source alternative because it's a black
Yes.
box, right? Uh,
Yes.
what
First,
happens to
yeah.
your data? Yeah,
Yeah, I really like the also the domains and kind of like the pre-trained containers that you guys build on top of this. We can actually dive deep, but you say two really interesting things. You said first the Python part, because I also agree a lot of like Web2 developers coming into the space from the
yeah,
AI agents, they're accustomed to like Python language. So I think like
yeah.
having frameworks dedicated to that, or even LangChain, like bunch of
LangChain,
like those
yes,
frameworks. There is a lot of things. And then the second like kind of part that I really like was the social coordination, and I think it's one of the biggest use cases right now. That's why kind
yeah,
of at the beginning maybe that were not really working, because the social layer, the coordination layer was also a pain. And my kind of like other spicy question I'm always trying to dig in is that, how should we actually think about the agent coordination? I don't think it's too early to speak about. I think agent to agent coordination will become big, and you kind of touched already with the framework. But do you think that we have standards or specs today around agent coordination, or what do you think about that? Should we actually even speak about this? Do you see already a real example around coordination, or what's your take on that?
I think there are multiple ways I'd like to answer this one. Starting one with Gaia is
Mhm.
Gaia has domains. Domains
Yes.
essentially mean specialized knowledge centers, and
Mhm.
then there are nodes that power inference to this domain. Right. For example, MetaMask has a domain.
Mhm.
Now,
Yes.
this domain on MetaMask is trained specifically on the MetaMask documentation.
Mhm.
Right. So if I am building an application, or if I want to build a dApp, or if I want to build, let's say, a smart contract, then I could use MetaMask domain and also the
Mhm.
Rust coder domain, right?
Mm.
To create an application using Rust that leverages MetaMask documentation and helps me write code,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Today, this interaction happens using REST API, but I fully look forward to people building more, architecture level interactions between agents, because I think that is a missing piece. There are many folks working on it. For example, XMTP is working
Mhm.
on how you could build agent to agent communication.
Mhm. Mhm.
In fact, something interesting is coming out next Tuesday from Gaia, where we launched an integration with XNTV. You should
Nice.
definitely check it out if you're a builder. But uh, from a builder standpoint, right? I think
Mhm,
if I'm an app builder or an agent builder, I
mhm,
think the first thing that I would like everybody to think about is not jumping on any framework or
mhm,
not deciding which framework to use, which API to use. That's
mhm,
all secondary. Anybody can figure that out. I think
mhm,
the core aspect of building AI agents is what personality do you want to give to the AI agent, and what unique characteristics or actions does your AI agent really perform
mm,
is
yes.
the most important piece, right? Frameworks are already there. You can just simply plug and play them, right? But
Yes.
the hardest piece is creating that personality. Today,
Yes.
the data is gone, right?
Mhm,
OpenAI has trained on pretty much all the available internet data. Now,
mhm,
how do you create specialized agents? How do you replicate a Francesco online? How do you
mhm,
replicate a Harish online? Or how do you replicate
yes.
yourself online, right? If you
Yes.
have a lot of GitHub repos, figure that out first before building an AI agent, right? I
That's
think
true.
that's very important. I think the way I see this landscape evolve, especially in the agentic agent to
Mhm,
agent interaction space, there
yes.
will, just how we saw meme coins as a first example of AI agents launching autonomous coins or tokens on chain. I think we will start with seeing API to API interactions, just like in Web
Mm,
2, how you call
yes.
multiple APIs for agents to talk to each other. And
Yes.
eventually it will go to a stage where it will become a architecture level integration, as opposed to just, okay, this is my REST API, I'll just do a post call or a get call and
Mhm,
then show the response back to the user. So architecture level will, I think, bring more power to the AI agents, which can then autonomously do things that are not even visible. Right today, AI agents
mm,
are popular because they are able to autonomously perform tasks or have their own environment in which they live, where they have a personality and they
yeah.
know when to perform what. Now, imagine multiple personalities, multiple environments interacting with each other, right?
Yes.
So that should come very soon, especially with the
Mhm,
landscape
yeah.
changing rapidly every day.
But we
That
saw
that's
we
how I
saw
think. Yeah,
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 we saw a taste of it in there was an X video that people like that two agents would start interacting, that they switch language to be more efficient, right? Like, and then
yeah,
like,
yeah. That
you
went
didn't think
viral.
about
I don't know how many know how that works. Is encryption, the classic cryptographic encryption, is how it works. In fact, there is a
it.
repo
Mhm.
online. I'll try to find it if I can share on my
Yes.
Twitter, where the interaction is very simple. It's just prompts. The
Hmm.
system prompt and the assistant prompt are customized to tell
Yes.
the agent you reply using this cryptography, which means it encrypts the message, and
Yes.
then the second agent will decrypt the message.
That's incredible. Yes.
Now imagine converting this into sound, right? That's all there is on a technical
Mhm.
level. But we were
Yeah.
all fascinated by it when we saw the video, right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
hearing all the noises and all.
Of course.
It's yeah,
Yeah, it's also like the fact that like the agents don't need the humans to probably like perform or actually like do new task. Even prompting, you will have agents that actually are better prompting than actually humans, right? And go to the solution like on an easier, better setup, right? And but then the question is, I mean, from what I understanding from your answer is also like you believe in much more specialized agent versus the generalized agent kind of use case, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, I totally agree with that because you want to have specialized data training of each agent, and we will probably have agent to agent that are more specialized, providing a specific service. But then, like speaking about more on the infrastructure level, you a little bit touch on the infra side. Do you feel that we have some gaps on infra gaps that still need to be filled? Where do you think like builder have like challenges today? When is this something like around integration? Is this something about like kind of like how do you say generalized or universal endpoints? Because I feel sometimes we were seeing more and more forks. That also the purpose why Modern kind of exists was like, hey, let's not replicate the
yeah,
DeFi Summer, the DEX forking, but let's actually have a social graph around agents so that we, even if we have a 10 agent doing the same things being forked in a week, we still know with social graph, with public attestation, which one is performing the best, right? And
Yeah.
we can provide better information to the agent consumer. But I'm curious from you, like any specific gaps that you see right now that we should, gaps that we should fill up the shoes like 3 to 6 months, because in 2 years things will be changed completely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In 2 years, I don't even think this landscape will exist in
No.
2 years.
Yeah. Even today, I saw that
Yeah,
ChatGPT was doing the 2 years birthday. If I'm thinking about how long we went into kind of the LLM like
yeah,
space, how quickly like everything evolved. Like I'm also even thinking about open LLMs too, right? And open source LLM, like like 2 years, and in the past maybe 6 months, I saw all the evolution. But anyway,
yeah.
like what about GitHubs? What was your thinking?
I think a major gap as a developer that I'd
Hmm.
like to point out is on the level of infra that I can consume from day one. For example, there is this narrative of, oh, you can just simply
Hmm.
plug and play this API, but as a developer, I have to pay for it, right? At the same
Mm,
time, I don't have a machine that is capable enough to run a 70 billion parameter model if I want to run a 70 billion parameter model,
mm,
right?
mm,
I think the key is to be able to find, uh, like I said, right? Don't worry about which framework to use, but worry about
mhm.
what agent you want to really create. I think
Yes.
that's where you can now start plugging in. Okay, if I'm creating a coding assistant, right?
Yes.
I'd have to pick a model that is trained or fine tuned to write code, right? Now, if I pick the right model, depending on the model that I pick, I have to find the infra, right? Which is the challenge, which is also costly, right? Which is why I was saying specialized agents will be the next evolution of AI agents, where you don't need like a one 180 gig RAM
Mhm,
machine or
mhm,
a
mhm,
Mac Studio sitting in your home to be able to
mhm.
run an agent, right? You can still
Yes.
run it on a 8 GB machine. In fact,
Yes.
Gaia, somebody from the community, I'd like to give a shout out, right? During the Agentic
Yes.
Ethereum hackathon, ran Gaia on a Raspberry Pi, right?
Well, that's
So if you're
great.
able to run a AI inference layer on Raspberry Pi, imagine what agents you can build on top of it, right?
Mm, mm,
So infra is one challenge. The
mhm,
second challenge is also documentation, right?
mm,
Docs specific to, let's say, XYZ protocol that I want to use, they are not easy to understand today, right?
mm.
Which is where tools like cookbook.dev are coming in, and they're saying, okay, you have a documentation, add a button that says ask AI, right? You click on it, you can simply ask questions about the documentation and get a code output,
Yes. Oh
right?
yeah,
I think,
Cookbook. Yeah, they
yeah,
implemented in Open Zeppelin too. They helped me doing the standardized smart contract. Yeah,
yeah.
shout out to them too. Yeah.
In fact, yeah, shout out to you based on our conversation during break. I
Mhm.
am also building a Open Zeppelin agent that can write smart
Oh.
contracts. It will be very out soon. Work in
That's very
progress.
cool. But even
Yes.
having what you're like saying about the domains, right? Having a specific domain that helps Web3 kind of like developer more on the Web3 side. Because I feel like, I tested a couple of times the cursor that was 2 months ago, but it's still early on the
Yeah.
Web3 kind of development environment side. That would be super
Yeah.
cool, yeah. But
Web3,
explain a little
Web3
bit,
documentation.
like no, I
Yeah,
just
go
want
ahead.
to understand that everybody understand. So basically, like those Gaia domains is basically pre-containerized, pre-trained model that people can basically pick up and build on top of
Yes.
it. And the
Yes.
biggest value here is that you have basically an empire of pre-trained data that can actually like be built on top of it. And I think it's super useful and it's really like open source, right?
Yes. In fact, the domains and the knowledge base that comes with it is created by the community. We are not creating it, right? Community is creating these domains and agents. And also, if you look at it, in a way, it is verifiable inference
Mm.
because the domain brings the trust, right? You don't
Mhm,
need to now
mhm.
worry about TE or trying to
Yeah.
figure out how do I do verifiable AI, right? By default, this is verifiable AI because
Mhm.
the domain is being provided by a provider. There is already a trust in place, right? Now, all you have to do as a developer is consume the information from the domains, right? Which is why I highly recommend protocols or platforms or even companies to start with the domain and then customize their knowledge base and then provide this back to the user to see how they will interact with it or what they will build on top of it. One of the classic examples that we're working on today is with Vana, right? Vana has a
Mhm.
lot of data DAOs, right, where users are contributing and earning back for contributing their data. Now, how can you
Yes.
plug in a Gaia in their secure environment where agent builders can consume the data without having access to that data, but still build applications on top of it, right? Those are the second type of use cases where developers can leverage user provided data, right? Let's say from Reddit DAO or Twitter DAO
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
any DAO that's there today on Vana, right? So that's the evolution that I'm also seeing where Gaia can now plug into other third party secure compute environments, because as long as you
Yes.
have a machine, you can deploy a Gaia node, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, the Raspberry Pi is impressive, and also
it
the
is.
fact that you can finally have open source domain with pre-trained data from the community to the community is also impressive, right?
Yes.
Because we definitely need more like that. So how is the privacy being handled? Like, is the training, if I'm basically like putting my knowledge to train a domain? Like, how is the privacy? I mean, can you actually like from the domain level know what is happening? I will also share the Raspberry Pi blog post shortly. That's super useful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay. Privacy, I think, is a great question, which
Mhm.
is our also our narrative, where we talk to developers or builders or node operators that when you launch a Gaia node, the node itself comes with a quadrant vector database.
Mhm.
It comes with the LLM. It comes with an embedding model, and it also comes with Llama Edge, which
Mhm.
provides the OpenAI compatible API functionality. Right. Essentially, all of this is not sitting somewhere on the internet. It's sitting in your own machine,
Mm.
right? You can customize this, and as a developer, if I want to leverage, let's say, MetaMask domain and
Mhm.
consume the data, all I'm consuming is only the inference. I will not have
Mhm.
access to what specific knowledge base you have trained it on.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you have created the MetaMask domain, you have full control of what knowledge base you are providing it and
Mhm.
how you are customizing it with the personality or the system prompts, and
Yeah.
then make it respond, right? In fact, even
Yes.
fine tune, right? So that full control is still with the node operator or node builder who's
Mhm.
launching the node
Right.
itself. But as a consumer, I will never be able to look at this. In fact, what we are also doing at Gaia is, for all the examples that we build, we are open sourcing all the knowledge base that we are using on our Hugging Face account, where, let's say, if somebody wants to, like the one I mentioned, Rust coder, right, or MetaMask, or by
Mhm.
default you get a Paris knowledge base. All of these are
Mhm.
available for anybody to check on Hugging Face. They can go there,
Yes.
see what knowledge base, how to chunk data, because there are a lot of steps involved before you
Of course.
eventually get to deploying an agent, right?
Of
You
course.
can learn all of these through our Hugging Face account. So, as a developer, again, reiterating, no developer can access the actual knowledge base from the
Mhm.
node itself,
Nice.
except for the one launching the node.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, if you're trained this locally, also the cool thing is that taking this and fine tuning is also like I think something that people really appreciate because this lock in, I think is especially on the builder side is something that scared people off, right? Like people
Yes.
don't want to be locked into a specific like LLM or even like a trained library. If you're also like giving the possibility to people having like a local train and even a fine tuning, taking like domains and fine tuning for their purpose, I think is also
Yes.
providing a lot of value prop. And yeah, no, this is great. But I mean, I know that I could stay here like 2 hours to speak on this, and I know we're almost on time. But I want to ask you a little bit, like I want to try to understand also where you see the market going, like any kind of like specific use case that are showing the most kind of like promises. I'm always trying to understand, okay, which agents are actually like starting to make money today. Like, what are the use cases that you see that are kind of like emerging, or what are the use cases that you see, okay, this is something that already happening? I mean, I can start with the main two, obviously the DeFi use case and the kind of the XBT use case on the social side, right? But what
Yeah.
else do you see out there?
I think those two are major because
Mhm.
it's also easy to build
Yeah.
in the DeFi space. There is also accessibility of data
Yeah.
very easily, right? That's why I think more people tend to building towards those. But I think some of the use cases that I see and also will emerge in the future is,
Hmm.
like I said, personalized trading assistance. Right,
Yes.
I have my own risk appetite, and I want my agent to understand that and give me recommendations instead of a generic agent, right, which is trained on historical data, can give recommendations, but will never know what type of risk appetite I have. Right, I may not be able to put in all the money that I have to trade. Right, I think
Hmm.
those kind of personalized, giving user more power to autonomously share with the agent what their personality is, and then
Hmm.
getting out of it strategies out of it, is one use
Hmm.
case that I think will evolve.
Hmm.
Giving power back to the users is one.
Yes.
Then there is, of course, there is always the bringing real world assets on chain in terms of Web3. How do we, make this verifiable? How do we make this autonomous? How do we make this so abstracted at a level where developers don't have to worry about the architecture or technical
Hmm.
complexity that
Hmm.
comes with bringing off-chain data into on-chain, like using oracles, right? And then also verifiable AI is still going to be very important. There are multiple strategies how developers can implement verifiable AI, but it has to become much more simpler, right? TAE is one, like I said, guide domains is one way to look at it. Then
Hmm.
there is also another concept, Michael, who's our chief scientist and head of engineering, proposed is, let's say there are 20 nodes powering a domain,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? You ask all the nodes the same question, right,
Yeah.
multiple times, because
Yeah.
LLMs will not give you exact answer. It
Of
would be a
course.
chatbot if it is
Yeah.
giving the same answer every time, right?
Yeah.
Now, based on these multiple answers, you can actually write a script to find the closest vectors from these responses, right? You can convert the response to an embedding and find the closest vectors, because vectors, if they are close, means they're similar, right? Different words have different vectors, which means they're far away, right? That's one way to build verifiable inference. I'd love to see community building something like that, right? For verifiable inference beyond just talking about TE only, right? Today, everybody talks about TE. They think TE is the only standard, but there are multiple ways to do it, right? I think playing around with multiple ways to create verifiable AI, verifiable inference will become much more easier. And also, I think one thing that people will start having access to is more GPUs for lesser cost, because now there are a bunch of players who are giving GPU for lesser cost, right? That only powers builders to be able to leverage those and experiment more, right? And
Hmm.
the last thing that I'd like to mention that I would see as a trend is more fine tuning as an activity itself, beyond just building AI agents, right? How do you fine tune your own custom model, right? I think once that comes into picture to a level where all the tech is abstracted out and it's only a simple interaction, a low code, no code way of interacting with the model itself, and then
Hmm.
getting a model out of it, and then
Hmm.
being able to use that model personally on my machine wherever I
Hmm.
am is a great way for. I
Yes.
think it will only support more evolution with AI agents.
Agree, agree. And speaking about evolution, are because I think it's a pain point that people never understand, never speak about it. But everybody say, "Oh, the successful of a social agent like XPT is the mind share." And then from that point, I thought about metrics or like how we are actually evaluating success of those agents. What are kind of those metrics, right? You can also like say for DeFi, mostly will be like a future AI agent treasury. But what do you think are the true metrics for actually evaluating this agent success? Because again, maybe they don't need to give us metric to humans. It could actually
Yes.
have agent to agent interaction. Like we
Yeah.
are also expecting result and clear communication, but maybe there is no like it's not required to actually like define to us what success means. But I just want to ask you like what do you think are those metrics, if there are some, what are the things that you see already that are happening that you can say this agent is successful?
I think as long as one is social proof, right? Let's say
Hmm.
I build a Twitter agent. If
Hmm.
of course, the standard metrics on X, Twitter, is replies or quotes or retweets. That's a standard way to measure a Twitter agent and see if the interactions and engagements on each tweet that the agent is putting out are going higher or not. Right? That's a standard way to do it. But the second one that I want to mention is an experiment that we ran last year by doing an autonomous hackathon, where we had a bounty distribution agent, right? Secretly, down somewhere deep in our hearts, we were expecting the agent to steal the money because the agent also has a wallet, right? Instead of distributing it to the winners, right? Now, what are some metrics that the agent can put out if it is a trading agent? How much growth have I seen with my money that I've put in the trading agent, especially in the DeFi space?
Mhm.
And in terms of generic landscape of measuring AI agents, I think apart from social proof, which is okay, this is a great response, or I don't like this response, that is the standard one that everybody
Mhm.
measures.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
other one is what is the general success rate of
Mhm.
the agent itself, right?
Yes.
It can be anything. What based on the task it is performing, is the success rate only increasing or is it reducing, right?
Mm.
With specialized agents, you can reduce hallucinations, right? But
Of course.
still, I
Yeah.
would say LLMs will still have hallucinations because they're not human, right? They can
Yeah.
still go
Even
hallucinate. How
human hallucinate sometimes.
exactly?
Yeah.
Can we talk about it on stream? Maybe not, but
Yeah.
but yeah, how can we reduce hallucinations and what is the
Mhm.
success rate of
Mhm.
the action that the agent is
Mhm.
performing? That
Mhm.
should be measured quantitatively to see
Yes.
if it is going uphill or downhill.
Yes. Yes. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think, yeah, I think finding like a success metric makes sense, but also like you can also define
Yeah,
success if the agent actually provide value to the community, to the ecosystem, and that's why social agents and coordination agents, especially for specific use case, could be to DAOs, could be
yeah,
to organization. I definitely see like stuff like operational side a big help for now, especially on the
yeah,
DAO side. But there is a tons of use case that I think they're already showing success, right? The social
yeah,
agents with XBT, although it's also like what is the smart value that you're creating. We are not searching for volume, but at the end of the day I feel that that's why kind of like we want to model to exist, because is especially in the DeFi ecosystem, people will want to start deploy capital to those agent treasuries. And for
yes.
starting doing that, they need to we need to have a clear social graph, so agent which are performing and kind of like finding out this stuff. And I think it's very important.
Yeah, I think value and trust, like you mentioned,
Yes.
is
Yes.
also sometimes hard, right? For
Yes.
DeFi agents, it's easy to measure. If money is going up, it means your agent is
Yes.
performing well, if you
Mm.
want it to, right?
Yes.
But how do you, as an agent builder, right? How do you create measurable,
Hmm.
values uh, based on trust that your agent
I
has
agree.
in the
Yeah.
ecosystem? I think
Yeah.
with Mother having multiple agents doing the same
Yes.
thing and also having agents that do very significantly different things, not even close to each other, will
Hmm.
be a great way to bring all these agents together, first of all,
Yes.
and then also be able to measure and create agentic systems that can
Yes.
now leverage multiple agents together, right?
Yes.
I think
100%.
is a nobody is doing that. Nobody is thinking from that perspective.
Yes.
Everybody is sitting and building AI
Of
agents.
course.
But
Yeah.
yeah, without the agent to agent interactions, what will you do with having like 100,000 agents itself working in
Yes.
silos?
Yeah, agree. I mean, the first step is obviously like building this public registry.
Yeah,
And then also like building the reputation system, right? And the question is how the reputation can be built. And I feel like there are different ways that you can build the reputation. It could be actually from those metrics, soft metrics or even hard metrics. But I feel like I really like project like Karma 3 Labs. They're doing like
yes,
peer-to-peer reputation systems, like we will have agents or even like humans starting to actually build reputation system for other agents that you can actually attest that is giving value to you or is
yeah.
actually working. And this is all entitled to the social graph, so this is something useful. So speaking about now we are almost at time and we need to close up, but a little bit like on the Gaia side. So first, what are kind of the main development that you are more excited about on the Gaia side, but also on this kind of like agentic evolution side?
Yeah, I think I'll address one of the major confusions that developers or builders usually have is Gaia is the inference layer. It's not a
Mhm.
framework, right? You
Hmm.
can build customized knowledge base systems using Gaia, and then use this anywhere you want. You want this to interact with Eliza, you can use it. You want this to interact with CDP's agent kit, you can use it. You want this to interact with on-chain kit, you can use it, right? So Gaia starts with, like I said, decide or plan out what your agent's personality is. That's where Gaia comes in, right?
Hmm.
And from our end, the next major milestone that we want to hit in the next 1 year is
Hmm.
multi-model support, because today we do text to text
Yes.
and speech to text only. I think multi-model support, once that comes out, is going to just be superpowers with developers. Then there is also, today we launched support for Gemma models, right?
Yes.
Gemma architecture is a little bit different, and now
Yes.
builders can use Gemma models in
Hmm.
their local Gaia agents,
Yes.
right? Along with this, uh, every agent or every node that you launch with Gaia comes with an API and a UI, right? So it becomes only easier for you as a builder to now fine tune and check before you are interacting with your agent live in prod, right? So uh, those are some things that I would touch upon, and of course there are multiple integrations that I am building with the ecosystem that will come out, where you can see
Nice.
how you could integrate protocols with Gaia or leverage Gaia as a support system with any protocol that you like, right? So yeah,
Nice. Nice. Yeah, we definitely want to hear those alpha maybe in a part two, because I think the space is evolving so fast, especially on the Gaia
yeah,
side. And I think like you're also like doing a lot around the ecosystem and development activation, and a lot of things are coming. So I think even before an ECC, we should definitely like re catch up and understanding where Gaia is, and also where and how the agent builder are at, right, in terms of like ecosystem growth, but also challenges and gaps. I think
absolutely.
we're good. I mean, Harish, thank you so much. Thanks also like for everyone. We have a couple of comments. I think I see here like delegation toolkit from Sushmita. There is a lot of like things that are happening. I think like especially like the things that you guys are working on the delegation toolkit side is something that we are definitely passionate, and we will also like announce more stuff. But yeah, I mean, Arish, again, thank you so much for like sharing all those insights. Super interesting around Gaia's. Also super interesting what is happening around the agent ecosystem. I really like your takes on the agent coordination side, and also like thanks for kind of like clarifying those kind of misunderstanding around Gaia, because everybody can actually like use Gaia. It's an inference model. It's not a framework. So you can actually use any frameworks
Yeah,
today. And by the way, also your take on the Python framework is something super interesting. And I feel like similar to an Arbitrum doing stylus, right? We need to
yeah,
go where developer are prompt to, and if 99% of agent developer coming from Web2 are accustomed to Python, this is where we kind of need to stay. But gaining the Web3 rails is something that is super useful for them to be, because having on chain, having all like 24/7 data feeds, actually like really like speaking with each other, especially in DeFi, is something super important that you will not find in Web2, right? It takes
yeah,
like what, 4 or 5 years, even more, even 10 years to have open
more,
API
yeah,
banking, right? And
yeah,
the fact that you can actually interact and build a DeFi agent in one afternoon, and having all on-chain transaction, all Oracle feeding you data real
yeah,
time, it's impressive. It's really
yeah.
impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Francesco. I'd like to leave everybody watching this with two thoughts,
Mhm.
right? If you're a
Yes.
builder and if you see an API, consume it, right? Doesn't matter what you're building. If
Consume
you
the
see,
API. I like
yes,
it.
always consume the API, right?
This is a
Yeah,
quote.
and
This will be an Irish quote, I think.
it should be on a t-shirt, yeah. If you see an API,
Yes.
consume it. and the and the second thought, of course, I lost my chain of thought after listening to you summarize what I shared. But
Yeah.
I think it's easy to build, right? It's easy for
Mhm.
everybody to build. Use Gaia, use any programming language.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if you see a new programming language like Move, or you don't
Mhm.
understand Solidity, my approach as a builder would be
Mhm.
train a local agent, because you have access to docs.
Mhm.
Train it,
Mhm.
make it teach you, right? Make it teach you Move, make it teach you Solidity if you're new to
Mhm.
Web3.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
one way of new way to learn apart from just going and asking ChatGPT, because you know how to then train an agent and also launch an agent and also consume what it is saying, right? So you're not just asking question and answers, but just building an AI agent for your own learning first, and then you can of course make it open source, let community use it, and so on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
always create,
I like
consume.
it. Yeah, actually, I like this tip, especially because a lot of people are starting to build those. Yeah, just to
Yeah,
build those. Yeah, specific like agent side, and if you're even, that's a really good tip actually. Like even like going through Gaia containers, seeing like new frameworks, and build from that. It would be actually like I think you save a lot of time too, because a
yeah,
lot of even yeah output of the current LLMs on coding is not really,
yeah. It is
sometimes
not.
it's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it makes sense. No, I mean that's super useful. I think a lot of people also like learned a lot. And if you need to go back, what are the main lesson learned here around agents, and then we really close up, like anything that you think this is something that you really need to learn before actually building an agent.
Like I said, for step one is always create a knowledge base by
Hmm.
yourself,
Hmm.
right? Find the right knowledge base or create a synthetic knowledge base. Always create a knowledge base before building an agent, right? Decide what the personality is.
Hmm.
And the second learning just for me personally is, uh, if you see a good framework, if you see a good tooling, if you see a great protocol, try and see if you can consume it, right? Using their API, using their SDK, whatever it is, right? And then build on top of it, right? Not every protocol may need an AI agent. Not
Hmm.
every AI agent needs to do 100 things, right?
Hmm.
So planning is the most crucial part of building AI agents. I can't
Yeah,
emphasize more on this, because otherwise you're just building another meme coin launching agent, right?
I
It
agree.
can be a use case to test out, but how many years will you sit and test out, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, and we want to also see agents that are actually like bringing revenue. They are kind of
Exactly.
sustainable. They're bringing the resilience community. So there is actually like a really strong path there. Awesome, awesome. I mean, Harish, thank you so much. I think also like for everybody's watching, Mother has officially launched. Like also like kind of like check out a bunch of like announcements if you're building an AI agent or you just want to present a cool like builds that you want to kind of share with the community. You can actually like post stuff or even like post what you're building in there is a Mother Discord that we put out there for actually like new agent builders. And yeah, I mean that's a little bit it. And yeah, so this was kind of like this AI agent intelligence kind of like video live stream. Thanks so much, Harish. Thanks so much for all the team behind the scene also coordinating this and making this happen. I think we tried for a couple of weeks. After Denver, we had a little bit more time. So
Yes.
just a great video to catching up here on agents and probably following up with a part two pre ECC or something. Awesome. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Harish, and looking forward to see you next.